together. All right. All right. Looks like we are live, Dominique. We are so excited to be with everybody tonight. And we really appreciate those of you that are joining us for our live show tonight. Apologies for the delay in getting started. We had some technical difficulties. So unfortunately that sometimes happens with technology. So we appreciate you guys being patient with us, and hopefully you'll be able to find the stream on our page tonight. So yeah, so let's get started. How are you, Dominique?
I'm doing okay, fairly decent. I think that despite all that's going on, we're still chugging along, and baby still got to eat. Um, we at the hospital celebrated our 100th birth this month. We're a small hospital, so normally do somewhere between 50 and 60 births a month, and we had 101.
So you've
And the
been
month,
busy.
yes, 101 babies in the month of May, which is not normal for May, and that's a high number for us anyway. And I told my friend, I said I felt every single last one of those babies. I'm sure I was sitting over the bed with their moms, helping latch every single last one of them. So
Yeah, that's really exciting though, and I'm sure they were so grateful to have you. We know that you
yeah,
are doing good work. Um,
I try.
yeah, it's hard work right now, and especially with everything that's going on. Like you said, I think I just saw someone said she's tuning in with a heavy heart tonight, and I think we all probably can relate to those
That's right. That's
feelings
right.
tonight. And we just want to reiterate that we are here, um, for all of our families, and we see you and we hear you and we stand with you and we're here to support you.
Yes.
And we want to make
Everyone.
sure that you guys
I just
understand
think,
that.
it's are we here?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
That's okay.
It was a little hiccup. I was like, wait, did I lose everybody? Um, Sorry about that. I just think, that in this time it's very important to seek out your friends, check on them, see how they're doing dealing with this, especially if you've got new mommy friends that, just had a baby and then now all this stuff is going on. Me, I consider myself kind of a strong personality. I don't let a lot of stuff get to me. I'm a doer. So if something's wrong, I just, carry the burden and just get the work done. But some people aren't that strong, and with things happening now in the world, that it can cause an emotional turmoil. And when you are, newly postpartum with this new little baby, and your world is falling apart around you, it can make you very sad, very vulnerable. Maybe question what you were thinking bringing a baby into this world. I know, excuse me, I had a lot of people, friends, reach out and, ask if that was the right decision. And it's like, it's always the right decision to, to bring a baby into the world, no matter what's happening around you, in my opinion. Um, but a lot of people ask what they can do. First and foremost, just check on your friends, check on that this is affecting directly. Make sure they're okay. I know, Aaron, you reached out to me earlier this week, and I was so appreciative of it. So it just lets me know that I don't have to deal with these things by myself. That there are other people around to support, even if it's just to be a shoulder to cry on or somebody to vent to. You may not have all the words, you may not have all the knowledge, you may not understand exactly 100% what's going on, but, sometimes it helps to just listen and just sit quietly and listen to what that person is saying and kind of think about what's going on, do a little bit of empathizing. With them, if you cannot sympathize with them, since you've not gone through it. That's always the first step. Is just listen to your friends, listen to what they have going on. And then the next thing after that is just kind of, educate yourself on what's going on. Why is everyone so angry? I got that question too. It's like, well, where do I start?
Right.
But um, and it's very important to know that it's we're not angry about this one single incident. This one single incident was the straw that broke the camel's back. It's been several things building on top of each other. And finally, this one situation happened, and then everybody is, exploding. They're super angry. They're angry about what just happened, but they're also angry about what happened, last week, last month, a few days ago, last year. There's a bunch of stuff that's been happening and just piling on top of each other. So, do a little bit of educating yourself about, what's going on, why people are angry, and then from there, educate someone else. The more people understand what is happening, the and having these conversations with each other, not on Facebook, yelling at strangers through the internet. That's not how things get solved. But sharing what helped you learn is always good. Starting in your house. Everything always starts at home. Bring your family on board. Talk to your children because they are the future. If we're breeding hate into our children, guess what they're going to be when they grow up? It's not going to get any better. So start with your kiddos, start with your family, and then start with your friends and have your friends reach out. That's how things change. Learning about what's happening, what happened, reading about how to make it better, and then going out and doing those things. Even if I don't expect you guys to, march on Washington or, write laws or anything like that. But just those little sparks can make a big fire, which can make a big change. And that's how you can do your part. Um, I'm very appreciative to have this kind of platform to say that. And I love my kind community, the group, and the people I work with, for supporting me and thinking about me during this time, and just giving a little bit of space to kind of go through all of this. But so we're here. We are answering questions, both uh, breastfeeding and other,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
have any
Yeah.
questions
No, I
or
think that
concerns.
I really appreciate you, Dominique, and I really would like to take a minute to just say that I understand that this is not something new for you and other Black families, and that your emotional effort and the time that you're taking to educate others does not go unnoticed. And we appreciate you. We see you, and I know I am doing my best to take a step back and listen and learn, and then put what I'm learning into action, because
Right.
that's what I can do. And I think we have some resources collected if you are interested in learning from others that have been there, books that you can read to your children, books that you can read. I'll drop some links in the comments when we're done if you're interested in giving yourself some education, because I think that, like Dominique said, it's important to educate yourself, to stand by these families, but put the educating on yourself. They are,
Right.
your friends and people in your community and other Black families are carrying a really heavy load right now, and that's something we can take off. Is that we can do the research, we can Google, none of this is not something that we can't find ourselves. So that's just my take on something that you can do is take some
Yes. And
initiative yourself.
that's right. And there's lots of children's books that talk about race and equity and all kinds of things. So you can even start with your littles. I know, unfortunately, I have to have that conversation with my children. And we started with little books, and then as they got bigger, we had larger conversations. And once they learn stuff at school and they bring it back to us, we have those tiny micro conversations too. So they're always learning. It doesn't have to be, a whole big thing. And you don't always have to know all of the answers, and you can just be honest. You can just say, look, I feel like there's a problem. We need to figure out a way to make it better for our friends and our family. And I don't have all the answers, but I will, I'll read and figure it out, and we'll get back to, I'll get back to you with it. So even if it's a question that your kid asks or a family member asks and you just don't know how to answer it, it's okay to say, I don't know. But you guys can figure it out together. And I think that, and honestly, I think that's where it all starts. It's just these little tiny conversations in our houses with our friends, with some of our coworkers that are willing to listen, and then just listening to people when they say, "Hey, I'm hurting. This is affecting me." Don't try to, say, "Well, it doesn't affect me, so it must not be that serious," because that's not how things change. And you can put this on, breastfeeding too, since we're all here for that.
Yeah, I noticed on Instagram on our post, somebody commented, it feels like, what did she say? She said it's this thing that Black women don't breastfeed, and we need people to help. And
yeah.
I mean, that's, we're here to help that. That's what we're here for. We're here to support that. We can change. We can make those changes and give the support required. And which is why Dominique taught me something today and suggested the Black Mothers Breastfeeding Association that we'll be making a donation to. And we're really excited to cultivate a relationship with them, and be a part of the solution.
That's right.
Yeah. So if you are looking for somewhere to help, to donate, there are those organizations available as well. I know a lot of organizations are being shared in the news and places like that, but we wanted to highlight that there are organizations that are specifically for Black mothers and Black families and Black parents that are there to help them with something that's a little bit in our wheelhouse.
Right, exactly.
And I don't doubt that they're also helping with many other things. Because that's just how it is in this space, birth and postpartum workers go above and beyond. But yes, so I did see Dominique in the questions, and I wanted to address this since it is really relevant. What about if a mother is putting herself on the front lines right now and she is out there, if she's exposed to tear gas, is it still safe to feed her baby?
So I will be honest, there was some information that was just put out about the safety of tear gas and breastfeeding. I personally did not read it when it first came out, because when I saw it, I was not in a good headspace to kind of deal with it or take the education, and read the studies and find out. But the Leche League did put it out. So I can probably find their Facebook where they have it posted. I know I shared it to my personal page eventually. I think I scheduled it so I have time to read it. But La Leche League of USA did put something out on it, and they have a whole big thing on it with studies and things like that for tear gas and breastfeeding. So I will read it, but I don't know definitively right now. But there is something out there right now that you could read that has the do's and don'ts. But if I had to guess, I would say it's probably okay, because tear gas kind of gets in your system and out of your system very quickly, and you kind of inhale it. So usually things like that don't stick around in the milk very long, but read it to make sure.
Yes. I think I have it bookmarked. That's what I was just, sorry if I was looking distracted.
Yes, no, you're fine.
Here we go. This is what I will link. I'm going to put the Leche League link in the comments, but they are saying that, and this actually, it looks like was shared from La Leche League of Asia and the Middle East, but it does say that unless a mother is repeatedly exposed to large quantities, then it's probably okay.
And I don't know anybody that's going to sit there after one, even being, being close to just a little bit of it, that's going to sit there and keep dosing themselves with it. Tear gas isn't fun.
Yeah, so let me pop that link into the comments. That way you can read more about it. But that was a really great question because, yeah, we know that that's really applicable right now. And we know that some people aren't even purposely being exposed, but it's happening.
Exactly. That's right.
So
That's right.
It's important to know. And I also saw that after we were talking about that comment that said that, Black women don't breastfeed, somebody commented that they do. And I just want to comment that I see that. And my repeating of that comment was not to diminish that at all. We understand that.
But that's the myth.
Yeah.
That's the myth. I mean, I even heard it when I started working at my hospital. They were like, oh, the Black women don't breastfeed. And I was like, but they do. I do.
You're like, sorry.
Yeah, but that's the myth that Black women don't breastfeed, unfortunately. But it's sharing of resources to those that are interested. There is a Facebook page called Black Women Do Breastfeed. And I love this page because not only do they share education about lactation, but it's beautiful images of women breastfeeding, Black women breastfeeding everywhere. In the kitchen, while they're cooking, while they're doing hair of their other child, while they're just doing life everywhere. And I love it because it's lots of images to encourage other Black mothers or anybody really to breastfeed their baby. So that's a really good group. They've been around for a while. I don't know if they have a breastfeeding like group, but I do know they have that page and that web page. So you can share that with friends too, to support them as well. I know they do fundraisers every now and again, to support their education efforts.
Yes, and I did put that. I just grabbed that link and put it in the comments. So if you want to click on that page, it is there. And yes, they do have some really stunning images and great information going on there. So let's see what we've got going on.
And somebody said they had no clue about BIMFA until clicking the live. You're welcome. They've been around for a long time too. They are an amazing organization, a grassroots organization. The creator of the organization, Kadada Green, is awesome, amazing. They do great work in their communities. They host so many things for the women in their communities to help them breastfeed. And to make sure that they get off to a good start. They are an excellent resource in their communities. And I'm so happy that we're able to do something for them.
Yes, I think that's really awesome. Someone else commented, I'm wondering what the less obvious dangers of protesting or marching that should be considered before joining in the activity. Today I was close, but it was over 90 degrees and through an area where all businesses are burned, broken, or boarded up. I would say first and foremost, if you are going to go out and it's hot, please make sure you have water. And that is just for your human body in general. Make sure you have water. There are a lot of things going around that are more informative than me about some other ways to keep yourself safe. Just as a person. But as far as like the implications of breastfeeding goes, I would say probably something like hydration. Think about if you're going to need to pump or express milk, if you may be separated from your baby for a long amount of time. And then other than that, then it's just going to be, of course, your personal decision. If you want to get out there or not, which it can be a really great, a lot of people are out there fighting, and it's really great to see. But yeah, those would be my concerns. And Dominique, please add any that you have, but hydration and knowing where to express milk.
Yeah, definitely. And where to put it, do you have to bring a cooler or are you just going to pump and dump? I mean, I've been there before where I had to pump and dump. It's sad, but you want to maintain your supply and not get mastitis while you're out there fighting a good fight.
Yes. So, and that's what somebody else said. What about that she had gotten from a rubber bullet that she had an injury, and maybe a clogged duct or a bruised milk duct. So what would be your
That
suggestions
can
for that?
definitely happen. I would just say, try to empty that breast as much as possible. Go to your OB or breast specialist to look to make sure that nothing got severely damaged. Because those rubber bullets are coming out of a gun. So if you're at close range, even though it's not going to pierce your skin, it can definitely cause, some serious injury. So if you feel like it's bad enough, definitely go to your OB or to a breast specialist to check the area to make sure that nothing else got severely damaged. But if you got hit from far away with it, or you just got grazed with it, then I would just, be ginger with that area. And just make sure that breast stays emptied and just watch for bruising in that area. And just monitor to make sure that you're not accumulating, a clogged duct or anything like that. But if you feel like there's some injury to the tissue, definitely go to your OB or to a breast specialist to make sure that it's like superficial injury and not something that needs to be attended to right away.
Yes, I think those are really great tips. Another question I saw in here was about flanges. Nay was asking that she feels like her 21 millimeters are still too big. She ordered pump and pals and they help, but it's still uncomfortable. I need to find the best way to pump to go back to work at the end of the month.
I would say, you can email elsie@kind.com, and we can try to do a flange fitting via email, but you may have to see somebody in person, just so that they can see how the breast tissue move in and out of the flanges. They do make smaller than a 21. I think they make a 19, but I don't think they make much smaller than that. One thing you can do, depending on the pump brand you have, they do have silicone inserts in it. And sometimes just those silicone inserts can help fill in some space and can make the pumping a little bit more comfortable. Another thing that could be going on is that you just may have stretchy nipples. And sometimes those stretchy nipples can cause, when you're pumping, can lead to some irritation because they're just going to squeeze and stretch into any situation that you put them in. So that could be what's going on too. And then that has a whole other list of recommendations for solving the pain. So if you have a lactation consultant that reach out to them so that they can do a flange fitting in person. If you don't, then you can, like I said, email elsie@kind.com, and we can try to do a flange fitting via email with you to see if we can kind of figure things out to make things a little bit more comfortable for you.
Yep, those are all really excellent tips. Another question that says, with the world events going on right now, has anybody noticed a dip in their supply?
I'm not nursing, so no, but stress can definitely, hinder a lot of things, especially if you're, extremely worried or scared or something like that. If you had a dip, I would not, be surprised at all if that happened. Nobody's told me that, but I'm sure that it's a strong possibility. There's a lot happening.
Right. And we know that, some of the hormones associated with stress can make it harder to let down, which then feels like a dip.
Yep.
I would say, of course, some of it is just unpreventable, but there are resources, if you think it would be beneficial for you, that are offering free therapy and free counseling right now, even just for a guided meditation or things like that. A quick Google search will help you, but I've seen quite a few offering those kinds of services. So that may be something that's beneficial because it's not really something you can fix breastfeeding wise.
Right.
Right. You
just have to learn to kind of
unfortunately stress.
Yeah.
But there are resources out there. Another question says, I'm still nursing my 13-month-old on demand. Does she need cow's milk?
So, I read, and I could be wrong on this number because it was a long time ago that I read this, but I think if your toddler nurses at least 3 or 4 times a day, there's no need to introduce cow's milk, because they're getting all the fat and proteins and stuff that you would be getting from the cow's milk from the breast milk. If you want to introduce it, then there's no harm in still nursing frequently and the baby having cow's milk. I know me personally, my kids did not have cow's milk until they were like 2, 3 years old because they were still nursing A and B. They just weren't interested because they were still nursing. They were like, why are you giving me this milk? I've got milk in there, you know? So yeah, I personally did not, but I'm also very adamant about like vitamins and making sure my kids eat stuff from all of the food groups. They hate it. They will tell you. I can be out of town and I'll say, "What'd you have for dinner?" And they'll tell me. I'm like, "That's not all the food groups." So, but that's just me personally. But there's studies and stuff that have come out that said that there's no need for it. Now, if you've weaned your baby or they're only nursing 1 time a day, then yes, they do need that extra fat for brain development up until they're like 2, 2.5. And they do need that extra protein for muscle development too, and that calcium for bone development. So if your baby is not nursing frequently enough, then yeah, introduce that. Or if they are allergic to dairy or dairy sensitive, then there's other milk alternatives that still fill in that the gap of the protein and stuff, and then you have to figure out a way to get that fat into them because a lot of those milk alternatives don't have a high fat count. But other than that, long answer short, no, if they're nursing very frequently.
Yeah, that's same story at our house. Except my kids aren't as good as eating all the food groups, so maybe you can. This next question says, my baby started sleeping through the night. If I drop my middle of the night pump, will it significantly decrease my supply?
I don't know. Your supply will go down, yes, but I don't think it'll be significant. But just listen to your body. If you notice that it's a drastic change in your supply, then you know that it's affecting it and you got to bring it right back again. But if it's just one pumping session, I don't, and your supply is overall good and abundant, I don't think it will, that little drop of that feed will affect it too much. But again, just watch your, listen to your body, and if you feel like if it's lower, then bring that pump session back, and it should boost it back up to where it was.
Yeah, that's, everybody kind of responds differently, but hopefully your body will adjust. I see that somebody on Instagram asked, are the Kiinde storage bags compatible with more breast pumps other than Medela? And yes, we are compatible with most pumps on the market. So we are compatible with Medela, Spectra, Ardo, Evenflow, Motif, trying to get a running list, Lancino. If most pumps on the market, there's only a few that we aren't compatible with. So when we get done here, I will grab our compatibility chart and put it in the comments. So just double check back on that. Or of course, you can always send us an email to lc@kiinde.com or support@kiinde.com. And our team is happy to help you pick the adapters that you need to use your pump. This question says, does getting your period decrease milk production, especially if it is regularly before 6 months postpartum?
Yes, it can. And it will. That's very normal. The calcium levels and the magnesium levels drop during ovulation, which I'm not 100% sure how it correlates, but apparently that affects your supply. So once you start ovulating, those two minerals drop, and then your supply drops in response to it. So to counteract this happening, If you take a calcium magnesium supplement, I forget the amount. Um, Aaron, if you're at your computer, I know kellymom.com has a link for low milk supply and your cycle. She tells the specific amount, but there's a certain amount that you can take. If you know when you ovulate, take it before you ovulate. If you do not, take it every day, and that will help counteract that decline in calcium, magnesium, which will help, which causes your cycle to decline. Um, Taking extra of those two minerals will not hurt you, because the reason why you're declining is because you don't have enough of it. So taking these minerals helps put you back at a normal amount that's supposed to be in your body, and then that'll counteract the decline of your supply.
Yes, and magnesium is also very good for mental health. So
That's right.
it's a double duty
That's
there
right.
um, as far as that goes.
Is that
This
tips for
question says
nursing milk?
tips for nursing with a teething baby. Sometimes he nurses for a few seconds, then pops off and cries, and I think it's teeth related. How do I encourage him to keep nursing?
Every baby is different, I guess. I usually just, it's annoying, but I just did smaller, more frequent sessions. Maybe try switching positions. Sometimes when they nurse, it changes like the pressure that's in their head, and that is painful. So they'll pop off or they'll cry or they'll bite because that's painful. But if you switch positions, sometimes certain positions feel better than others, and that just depends on your baby. But me personally, because my are horrible teethers, they got four teeth at a time every single time, all three of them, which is super annoying. But I just did frequent smaller feeds, laying down, and that seemed to help until they got through the teething. And then after that, they were fine and could do regular nursing sessions. Do you have any tips, Aaron? I don't.
Yeah, I mean, something that was helpful for my kids is that we did do a lot of the kind of shorter, more frequent nursing sessions when they were teething, some for those reasons and some just because they were uncomfortable and it felt good. Something that I found was helpful to my kids is I would freeze a washcloth and
Oh
before
yeah.
nursing would just kind of do a really gentle massage on their gums with that frozen washcloth. Um, and that seemed to help my kids. I don't know if it was because if it was just felt good or if it numbed it a little bit or what. And then my kids always love to like chew on that too when they were teething, or you can
Yeah.
do some. I never did this, but I know I've heard of others who will like break off a little chip of a frozen breast milk from a pouch
Oh
or
yeah,
whatever
yeah, yeah.
and use that to massage or give it in like those silicone feeders. You can
Yeah,
put
they
it
even
because then
have
you can,
mesh feeders
yeah,
too
or
for
mesh
that.
feeders, and that way you can get a little bit extra breast milk in them and
Hmm.
they
That
get the
relief.
relief from teething.
Yeah,
So
they didn't
yeah,
have
teething
cool things
is
like that when I was breastfeeding.
teething is just the pits for real.
It is.
um yeah. This question says from Facebook, my baby girl is 2 months old. Congratulations. How much
Yay.
milk should I be pumping a day?
Ooh. It's so pumping doesn't say your production. Pumping just says how much you can pump. And that will vary from woman to woman depending on the time of day. Your baby is to the breast, nursing on demand actively, and you're pumping afterwards, you're pumping out the extra that she did not consume. And that's going to be different based on how well she ate one session versus another. So I know overall milk production at this point, you should be overall in 24 hours making somewhere between 24 and 32 ounces a day. Some women make way more than that. Some make less than that, obviously, but for normal supply, at least 24 ounces a day is the norm. But again, if your baby is nursing actively and you're kind of pumping afterwards, you're not going to get 24 ounces unless you are in severe oversupply. So I think if you're getting at least a half an ounce or an ounce afterwards and your baby just got done nursing, I think you're golden. I think it's
Yeah,
fine.
I think any amount after nursing is great. And like you said, that 24 to 30 ounces is all that they take in. So unless you're exclusively pumping, you're likely not seeing a
That's
large
right.
chunk of that. So don't feel like
Exactly.
you should be feeding a baby full time and pumping 24 ounces
That's right.
because
That's
that'll
crazy
be.
talk.
And some people, it happens for them, and it's
Yeah.
whatever. But that's a lot of it. And we recognize that's one of the one of the what feels like a barrier sometimes to breastfeeding is you can't see it. We
Yeah.
want to see
Yeah.
it. So the only other thing I'll add is that if you are like pumping away from your baby, like you're going back to work or something like that, or you are pumping at work, then around 1 to 1.5 ounces per hour that you've been away would be a guideline. Of course,
Yes.
everybody's going to look different, but if you're
Yes.
looking for something like that, then hopefully that's
Yes.
helpful guideline because yeah, other than that, like you said, Dominique, it's how much you pump is how much you pump.
That's right.
And it's hard to get there. I see a question that talks about getting the air out of the pouches. Are the pouches not good for reflux baby? So I'm going to touch a little bit on how the pouches work, and then Dominique, I'm going to let you touch a little bit on bottle feeding for baby
Okay.
that maybe is experiencing that. So the
Yes,
way
because
that
I
our
have no
pouches
idea
work,
about the pouches, like anything
the
about the
way that the
pouches.
pouches work, as the baby eats, that it should be a vacuum, right? So there really shouldn't be, even if it looks like there's an air bubble in the pouch, like you have a bubble in your milk, say you could like do this with your pouch, right? It's not an air bubble that like the baby is going to ingest because it's similar to like, if you drink through a straw to get, even if you sucked up an air bubble to get air in, you would have to breathe, right?
Right.
So really, if a baby is getting air during a feeding, it's more likely that they're getting it from another way, like the flow is too fast for them or something like that. So you can squeeze the pouch gently to remove if you feel like there's excess air, and then as the baby eats, the pouch should be collapsing upon itself, which shows you that air is being removed. And Dominique, I'll let you touch a little bit on what it's like bottle feeding a breastfed baby or a baby with reflux.
So depending on the severity of the reflux, I always across the board encourage my parents to burp their babies often. I suggest a pre-burp and then a burp between every boob. So when if it's time to feed your baby, I always say sit them up and kind of pat their backs a little bit. Not only does it wake them up and get them all nice and upset because you've woken them up, um, it also helps to kind of relieve some of that trapped air that they probably got while they were laying down. And then, of course, you're going to burp between boobs. And when you're bottle feeding, same thing. If you're getting ready to feed your baby, sit that baby up, burp that baby before you offer the bottle, and then offer the bottle to the baby. And after every so often, sorry, my kids are feral today. They are feral. So after every so often, so say if your baby takes like 30 mLs, then you need to give 15 and then burp the baby and then give 15 more and then burp the baby. So lots of free burping. You can do paced bottle feeding and with the baby to make sure that the baby is not in too much air as they are nursing. Can you guys hear this?
Yes, I love that laugh. That's the kind of joy we all need right now.
I know. I'm sorry. They're imitating me and they've got boobs and they're like kids are feral
Please
people.
don't apologize. I think that's so sweet. And Dominique, what do you suggest for when babies are experiencing reflux or reflex like symptoms, what, like, when do you know, go to the pediatrician, or what are other things that you may look for that could be causing those
Um,
symptoms?
Usually, like if you lay your baby down and they are unsettled, like they always seem like they're grunting, they can't quite get comfortable, um, and stop. They're grunting, they can't get comfortable, they're very squirmy, and these things, they don't sleep for a long time. Like, so if you lay them on their back, they wake up very they'll sleep for like 10 minutes and then they wake up and they're crying, but they always seem happy when they're in arms. That's just because they're sitting upright and everything's, settling down. I would take the baby to the pediatrician if you notice that happening. But um, the pediatricians used to prescribe like acid reflux medications. But now I guess there's a study that came out that said that sometimes it's more harmful than good. So talk to your pediatrician, because depending on the severity of it, they may prescribe something, because then the risk, the benefits outweigh the risk. But they may also have some other alternatives that they can suggest to you to help you with managing a baby. But if you're worried, always take your baby to the pediatrician. But more upright, lots of burping, and if you do baby wearing is very helpful in keeping your baby upright, and giving you your hands so that you can do something else if the pediatrician can't offer you anything.
Yes, and I would say the only other thing I would add is also it may be worth having your lactation consultant check for any signs of a restriction like a tongue tie or lip tie, as that
Yes.
can sometimes lead to that as well. So I think we are going to have time for one more question, and then aside from our donation tonight, which we are so blessed to be able to do that, we are going to give a gift set away here too. So let's do one more question here, and then we'll give that away. This question says, if you're sick and taking antibiotics or pain meds, how many days do you need to pump and dump to make sure your milk is safe for your baby?
So first, don't pump and dump until you call the Infant Risk Center to find out if the medication is safe to take while breastfeeding. And if they say that you need to pump and dump, then at that time, pump and dump. There are several antibiotics and several pain medications that are safe to take while you are breastfeeding, in which you do not have to pump and dump with. So if you are prescribed a medication from your doctor, and this is across the board, not just antibiotics, call the Infant Risk Center. They are free service. They're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 Central Standard Time. Call them. They will tell them the medication that you're on, tell them the dosage, tell them the age of your baby, and they will tell you if it's safe, if that medication is safe, if that dosage is safe, and if it will affect the baby and how it will affect the baby if it does. So call them first, and then they'll tell you if you need to pump and dump and abstain from breastfeeding, or if it's just business as usual while breastfeeding.
Yes, they are a great resource. And I often have, like, me and like my mom brain, it's like I forget to call in between Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, right?
Right.
They have a lot of it, like you can search a lot on their website and see like forums where they've answered questions in the past. So they're still worth looking at, even if you can't get a hold of them. Or
Right.
I don't know about you, Dominique, but a lot of lactation professionals have their book. And you
Yes,
can.
I have it at my office too. I can look it up. They also have an app. It's called Mommy Meds. When you look into the App Store, just type in Mommy Meds, and you can put in the generic name of the medication, and it'll tell you if it's safe or not. The only thing I say about that is if it's a combination of medications that you are taking, or if the medicine is rated like an L3, then I would wait until you can call them and talk to a person to make sure, because sometimes not all, you can take the medication combination together, but that may not be safe for the baby. And the app unfortunately is limited in that way. It'll just tell you that this is safe and that's safe, but it doesn't tell you if it's safe together. So if that's the case, wait until that Monday to take the medicine if you can, so you can call Infant Risk Center. And to double check with that. But yes, you can definitely search their website. They do have a forum, like Aaron said, which is great because sometimes I've had to do that because I forgot when I'm at home. But most lactation consultants do have the Hales medication, mother's milk. I know I have it at my job, and I often, when I get calls, I look it up right then and there. But again, if it's a combination of medications, the book doesn't tell you if it's safe combination. So you may still have to end up calling the Infant Risk Center just to be sure.
Yes, lots of great resources and information shared tonight. Please, if you have any other questions regarding anything that we've talked about tonight, put them in the comments. We'll be in the comments still responding. We're here, we're listening. Send an email to us, lc@kiinde.com or support@kiinde.com, and we're here to help. We're here for you. Also, if you're looking for a safe space to have some of these conversations, to have some support, our Facebook group, Kind Community, is a really nice space. Dominique and Lauren do an excellent job moderating that group. And so that is a safe space. And the winner of our gift set tonight is Brittany Leanne. So Brittany, congratulations.
Hey, congratulations.
And please send us an email to support@kiinde.com or message us here on Facebook, and we will get the information we need to get that gift set for you. I want to say thank you again, Dominique, for taking the time and energy to be with us tonight, to do some educating for us, to share those resources. Thank you to all of you for joining us, and we will look forward to our next chat.